Hi, I'm Caleb. I'm a cardist, and I'm interviewing other cardists to see how and why they create, so we can learn how to grow as a community. Welcome to Cardistry Talk. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Cardistry Talk. Today I'm joined by Nate Lex. I'm sure most of the people know who you are, but just in case they don't, would you want to kind of introduce yourself, kind of what you've done in the community?
Sure. So my name is Nate Lex. I have been a part of OPC for a while, and I currently run More Than Paper, which I ran alongside that for a long time, but that is now my current main thing. And I've been doing cards for, gosh, is it 7 years now? I think I've been doing cardistry for 7 years after this past July. That's a funny story that I'm guessing we'll get to later, but I started July 4th, 2013. And the only reason I know the date is because it was on July 4th. But so yeah, that's me. If you guys don't know me, I'm fairly loud all the time. I love to talk. What other things about me? I love cards, obviously. I love music. I write some of my own music and write poetry, and anything artsy I like a lot. I have been watching some anime over this quarantine, Hunter x Hunter and My Hero Academia for those who watch those. But yeah, and I've been honored to be on this show today.
Yeah, we are super happy to have you here. Just my camera. So I guess just jumping in, we'll start kind of from the beginning. Like you said, you started on July 4th. How did you kind of get into magic and cardistry?
So that's a fun story. I got in. There's one friend I had named Turtle. His real name's Ethan, but he went by Turtle because of some teacher nicknamed him that, and then it just stuck apparently. But we basically he came over to my house for a 4th of July party, and he was showing me some things with some regular cards, some like black, just like rider backs, but was showing me some close-up magic, and I had never really seen close-up magic in person before. I'd only seen it on TV, and so then obviously like you get those people who are like, oh, well, obviously it's this trick or whatever because it's on TV and there's all these camera tricks you can do, but then you see it in person and you have like no other explanation for why these things may be happening. And I'm like, what just happened? I had the trick that really got me, that made me want to get into magic, was hand sandwich, if you guys know that. I think it's by David Blaine. But it's a transposal. So it's the basically where you have, if you guys don't know, one card in my hand trades places with a card in their hands, and it's nuts. I literally was like, I know you're not an atheist, but did you start worshiping Satan? Like I had no idea how any of this worked, and they showed me, and I was like, whoa, that is incredible. And then later that same evening, he showed me a video or two of Zach Mueller, his Uncraven videos. I think maybe the first, or it was either Andre Jick's Cardistry Uncut was, I think, the first cardistry video I ever saw, and then Zach Mueller's Uncraven was the second. And I was like, whoa, this is so cool. Like there's magic going on amongst different like card flipping things. And I was like, I have to learn that. And then over the years, first couple of months was like swing cuts. How do you even do a swing cut? And then a swivel cut and whatever. I'm like, I gotta get better at this. I really want to do well. And then I think I made up this really awful cut, in my opinion, looking back at it. That was like my first original, and I was like, oh, that's terrible. But then started making up some of my own moves. Those came out on. Actually, are we going through the whole timeline? I can give you like the whole timeline.
Yeah, whatever you want.
Then I did something called Indie. Oh no! The first one was Shadow Assassins 808. If I don't even think that's a YouTube channel anymore, but those were some of the first YouTube stuff was that I did. And then there was Indie Cardist, which I think is still up and running. But I did a rap video that the Verts saw. That was really cool. A lot of cardists and themes that were relevant at the time I just threw into one rap video because Sean Olson, or not Sean O on Instagram, made some sort of beat out of cards. And so I was like, oh, I'll rap over that. And I did. And looking back at it, I was like, oh, I could have done that better. But it was just kind of a fun thing to look back on. The Verts ended up seeing it. I started doing tutorials on there. And a couple of them got, I think the first one that ever got like actually it was called Illuminati. It was a really, really bad one. It was on that channel. I think got up to 4,000 views at some point, and I was like, oh, that's cool. Like I'm actually getting kind of seen. And then I found out about, it was called The Wire at the time. It's now the Theory 11 Marketplace. But
Yeah.
they had places where you could download and upload tutorials. And so I did this one called Book Return, which looks like, I'll show you, looks like this. And so that's one that's been in the community for a while. Everyone thinks I stole it from Dewey, but it was his move, I think, went like that or something underneath. But we came up with them around the same time, not having any influence on each other, just individually. And I think what was so funny is I was in, if you watch that tutorial back, also sorry if I keep picking at my eyes, I just got contacts today. But I was in a sling because I had broken my collarbone in half like weeks before, and I was shooting a tutorial in a sling doing this old move. Blake Voigt ended up using it in one of his shows, or wanting to use it in one of his shows, showed it up on his Instagram. First time I ever made it on The Wire. And then ever since then, I've been kind of making up my own, getting them posted to different websites. I've had my own YouTube channel. And I want to this fall, because I don't have a bunch of stuff going on, I would like to potentially upload more tutorials of different moves I'm coming up with. But I think with, and we'll probably talk about it later in the episode, some of the discouragement that comes with wanting to post any original content for fear of what people will say, because it can be so hostile, even when you're like not looking for all the attention or the critique. You're just kind of doing it for fun. And then people are like, oh, this is terrible. And I'm like, I didn't ask you what you thought. I just put it up there. So, So that's kind of my journey as of right now. I'm not in OPC anymore. No bad blood between me and them. Just something I felt like I needed to step away from at the time. And now I'm kind of going, where does More Than Paper go from here? Kind of in limbo, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Just finding your next waypoint.
Yes, seeing what else do I even want to do anymore? At one point I was kind of like, do I even like cards? And I'm like, yeah, no, I pick them up from time to time when I play with them. But if everyone's going to constantly be criticizing me for the moves I come up with, then I don't want to put them out. I'll just keep them for myself and have fun with them.
So you've been doing cardistry for 7 years then. So in terms of cardistry, I think that's quite a while.
It is. I didn't realize that for a while.
Mm-hmm. I think we probably started, I started cardistry and then stepped away from it to kind of focus on school and soccer.
Mm-hmm.
I think we probably started around the same time, because I remember those videos as well, and Uncraven and then the Uncut by Andre G, just blowing my mind at the time.
Oh, yeah.
Following The Wire and everything. But is there anything that you kind of missed from the older days of doing cardistry?
Oh man, if we could go back to it's how media has changed over the years, really. But if we could go back to, there was a really fun time period where people would pass. It would be pass the cut or pass the something, when everyone wasn't so concerned about what their feed looked like, myself included. But it would be pass the original. So this is a move that I'm working on right now that I think is super fun. And so it'd be pass the original cut, or someone would be pass the backdrop. Oop, can't even do it. Pass the backdrop, or pass the Charlie A cut or something. It would be pass a 3-packet cut, pass an original move, something. So it was just more inclusion in the community, kind of getting it spread around. I remember people cheering the verts on when they had the first YouTube video or something to pass 1 million. It wasn't super well known. And I think there's something really cool about being part of a community that cares about it overall. And I think now we've started to go at each other about different styles, instead of going, hey, there's more people to tell about cardistry. And it's something even at my workplace this summer, so few people have heard about it that you're guys, I do this thing, I can show you, instead of showing you a YouTube video, I can pull out a deck of cards and show you what this thing is. And they're like, whoa, what the heck? And a common meme, if you will, throughout the cardistry community is you come up with this ridiculous, two-handed cut that's really hard to do and whatever, that isn't necessarily. But then you show layman this spring.
Yeah.
And they're like, how did you do that? And I'm it's It's actually way easier than most of the things that I do. So it's just kind of funny.
Yeah, I know. Especially for like people that don't know cardistry, like everything just kind of looks samey.
Yep.
So even
Kind
if
of, it's
something's,
similar with dance and really any like performance art.
hmm I always closely relate cardistry to dance because it's just the beauty and the movement of an object. Um,
Yes.
so I, I think that's like one of the closest things to relate cardistry to, even though it might sound a little weird.
Yeah, I have this saying actually. This is a little nugget for the show, an exclusive, if you will. Um, I always say whenever I'm trying to explain it to people, and it's the best way I've ever heard it explained. Cardistry is like taking juggling, yo-yo tricks, and skateboarding and putting it in a deck of cards. And then people are like, "Oh," they kind of can get an idea of
Hmm
what it is because they're like, "Magic tricks? Like you do like magic?" And I'm like, "No, not quite. It's skillful, but it's not an illusion. It actually happens."
Yeah, it's more of a display. I always have trouble describing it. Like whenever I try to describe it, I'm just like I shuffle cards in weird ways. Like I
Yeah,
don't know how to really describe it to people very well.
it's common. It can be like card twirling or card cuts. Sometimes gets people like, "Oh, that's kind of what it is."
Hmm. So going back, you had started YouTube's, and then you kind of had your first bit of success with OPC. How did some of that get started in the early days?
Oh, okay. So we're diving into the OPC story here. That's always hilarious. So Cam and I met at college, um, and we basically met because in both of our orientation groups, different people were like, "Hey, there's another magic kid. You should go meet him," or whatever. And I was like, "Okay, sure, maybe." I honestly, if I'm being honest, thought Cam was like a little weird at first because of his Instagram or Facebook profile, and then I met him and I was like, "Okay, like we can hang out." I didn't know if he was gonna like
Yeah.
creep on me or whatever. That's a funny thing we could talk about later, or him and I might talk about. But so he came to me, I think at the end of our freshman year, and was like, "Hey, I have this super cool idea because we've like wanted to do custom cards. Why don't we put a banana on it?" He had heard a speech about someone on his speech team talking about how the Cavendish banana was going extinct, which is like the original, like the eatable banana we think of, I guess, and how however it like reproduced or whatever. Um, what am I trying to say? However, this thing was reproduced in the world because it reproduces asexually or whatever. There was some germ that was harming it or something, and so scientists had to like remodify the DNA so that it could reproduce. Otherwise, like we wouldn't have bananas anymore. Um, and so it was to raise like verbal awareness. So there was no like funding going to it at all. We thought, oh, that would be fun. But originally, we just wanted to make a custom deck. Like it wasn't to sell or anything. It was literally just, I want to make a custom deck of cards, and I want the quality to be like one of these decks, but I don't know where to get that. And so the only way to get that was from the actual US playing card company. And so we are like, so do we have to like, the only thing we knew at the time was like, oh, you could do a Kickstarter, you could do Indiegogo or something. And so for like a year and a half, almost 2 years, I think, I basically ran an Instagram of peelers playing cards um, that was talking about this Kickstarter would come out eventually, that this Kickstarter would be out at some point. And people were like, cool. And I think I grew it in one summer I worked at a call center, and I grew this page to over 2,000 something in that summer trying and working at it. And then one day over the summer, if you guys know Small Hand Things, she's kind of a name in the community, Caitlin Chen, apparently sent our profile to Kevin Yu. And Kevin Yu basically said, hey, like I really like your idea. I want to fund it. Instead of you have like, he was basically asking us why we'd go through Kickstarter. Why don't you just take out a loan and do it that way? And we were like, we're college students. I'm not taking out another loan. There's no way. And then he was like, well, I really like it. I think it'll do well. And you seem to already have a demand for it. I'll just fund it, and then you guys put it out. And we're like, this seems like too good to be true. This sounds a little scary. And then we ended up and we're like, what do we lose if it goes the way we think it's going to go? It's like, what? We lose a $30 design that, well, it's not really $30. The prototype was. We lose a design and we can make another one. Like, we're not super attached to it. It's just kind of a fun thing we wanted to try. But this would be a hilarious way to get it off the ground. And then it ends up being real. We get it funded. I'm not sure about the numbers. I don't want to say the wrong thing, but I think we sold out some amount in a week with the launch, and that was nuts. And then Kevin was like, hey, that did really well. What are we doing for the next one? And Cam and I were like, the next one? What do you mean the next one? Like, we did it. We finished the thing. Like, we designed the whole thing. It happened over the course of a year. We're done. Like, what in the world do you mean next one? And so then it became OPC. We started doing fruits. It became this string of different things, and now we're here, or I guess he's there. I'm not, but a different string of different fruits. My big idea concept was I love the colors that are on those cards and seeing them on shoes, clothes, just in design in general. I love those like poppy, very vibrant colors. And I think it would be so cool at one point to be like, oh, look at this whole deck set of fruit that I have. And it's all these fun colors. To the point where, and I think I can spoil this because I don't know if Cam's actually going to do it anymore. But when I was there, I wanted to do however many decks we do doing fruit. And then the end goal was to do, something called the fruit basket. And we were going to put like all the fruits in a little basket on a white deck and then potentially work with, and I don't even know where they went, but why can't I think of what their name is? What are the guys that do the like special boxes that always open up?
Cardistry Touch, I mean?
No. Cardistry Touch like the side. Yes.
I don't know. I know what you're talking about.
Bokobo? Is that what it was?
Was that?
Bokobo playing cards, I think is what it was.
That.
Well, we were in talks potentially to do this huge like custom, it wouldn't even be brick because it might be more than 12, but custom fruit basket where you pull up these drawers and you have every different fruit. It was going to be crazy. But yeah, so that is how that got started. We ran a YouTube channel. We did a podcast for a while. And now we're here. He's doing stuff and we kind of split ways design wise. I really like the fruit pop colors, and Cam's got a little bit different style, and you can kind of tell that by if you guys ever, I don't know if we had a picture on our page. If you guys go find the original OPC hoodies and stuff that we almost put out, a lot of the minimal like OPC on the pocket, gray, or even just white sweatshirt is kind of like my style. And then the t-shirts that he's currently selling now are kind of more his. We both liked the old one, but I definitely more steer that way, and he likes that design. So, but we're still really good friends. We might even be, spoiler alert, we might be doing Minecraft Mondays in the fall because Cameron has never played Minecraft in his life. And so we're going to be streaming his infant steps playing Minecraft. It'll be hilarious.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll be entertaining to watch.
I hope it'll be. I'm already picturing it. It's going to be great.
So you step away from OPC and then you kind of focus more on more than paper. How has that kind of been going for you?
So, in all honesty, it's kind of been a little discouraging. Also, it all hit during this COVID thing. Like, we decided to split up around when COVID was starting. And one of the funny things was one of my original reasons for leaving was that I needed to put more time towards school because I was putting a lot of money towards my schoolwork. And it felt like my priorities had gotten out of whack. And now that OPC, I made some money, but it definitely wasn't like a living, and it wasn't enough to like be paying off school. And so I was starting to put more of my time towards OPC than my schoolwork. And that was just unhealthy. I had a good talk with my parents about it. I really didn't want to do it at first. And then I was like, nah, I really got to like buckle down and do my studies. So this next deck and everything, like, I don't want to be sharing in this I try. I mean, I guess I did want it, but I ended up having to make a healthy choice of like, there was a bunch of stuff that I couldn't be putting all this on Cam's shoulders, and that's kind of what it came to at the end. Was there was some frustration with like how much I was able to do and how much I wasn't doing, and I was like, well, I can't continue this pattern and let my grades slip, but I can't also be like damaging you by letting you take on all this extra work while we're both getting kind of I don't know how to describe it. Basically, I was like, I got to leave for school reasons. You got to continue this on. There was at one point we were kind of like, is this going to endanger our friendship? And I think actually our friendship improved once we split up, because there were a bunch of things where we had different disputes of how we wanted to do things. Not like angry, but just kind of like just disagreements because people are different. And so then he ended up getting to do his own thing. I'm now doing my own thing. And I would say the most discouraging thing about doing More Than Paper right now is just like not having a teammate. And that was kind of what was fun about different things. Like Cam and I went to Cardistry Con together. We went to Toronto together. And so we've talked about it now in terms of like, if we ever visit those places again, it's like, well, it doesn't mean we won't still go as friends. It's just we won't go as like coworkers to that place. But so now I've kind of just gone, what am I doing with More Than Paper now? What do I do? There was a point where I was like, I'll just quit. I'm going to hand off my page to someone who wants it or something. And now I'm like, there's a bunch of different, I think the thing that maybe kept me around was a comment made when we made the video where I was on our OPC YouTube channel about me like signing off. And there were a couple comments who were basically like, we're not just OPC fans, we're Nate fans. Much as like those people are probably also Cam fans. But that was kind of like it's not just OPC you cared about. And there have been a bunch of people who've reached out to me lately and just been like so supportive. I forget how to pronounce his name. Let me look up his name so I don't mispronounce this. But his name is Brent and his son's name is Elijah, and they're great. Let me find it. Brent Shackert, I think is how you pronounce it. It's Tschakert. And he's just been a huge supporter, like encourager, like incredible dude. And him, Diesel Illusions, I could name a bunch of different people. Nick Stumphauser, some people even know. Yeah, so with More Than Paper, I'm honestly not sure, to be short and frank about it. I would like to do something with all the crap loads of cards I have around here to potentially put them in more giveaways. But then the thing is, like, it takes money to send them out. So it's like, it's just hard. You can't actually give them. I'm like, if you're around here, I'll just hand them to you. But you live halfway across the world. So yeah, at this point, I don't know. Kind of figuring that out at this point.
Yeah, that's. I'll look forward to seeing what you do. Just going back to the decision to leave too. I just want to congratulate you on making that decision, because it's always hard to step away from success, or to kind of have a healthier either mindset or do better overall.
Actually, the way you're saying it, one, thank you. Two, for everyone wondering, it did feel like a breakup. It did. It definitely felt like we were like, do we have to break up? Are we like, and I think that because we had so many of the similar conversations, like I have to make like what's a choice that's best for me, that's like healthy. And so many people were like, oh no. And it's like, no, like we're not, there's no hard feelings. This isn't a bad breakup. So yeah. Well, thank you. I really appreciate that.
For sure. So most recently you did for More Than Paper, the video for the sound, is it soundboard?
Yes.
Okay. Those new soundboards. Kind of doing it a little bit differently than what you've normally done. Are you looking to do more creative things and try out new things as you go forward, or?
Oh yes. So what I would like to do going forward is try a bunch of different I've been kind of suffering in the creativity department in terms of like not challenging myself and kind of getting lazy with ideas, not like posting, or I mean, I guess now posting, but it used to be like, the thing I've really noticed is I've started like just going, how much can I shoot in a day? So that video you saw was all shot and edited like in 3 hours, like in an evening. And I'm like, I think I've fallen into the trap of our culture, which says that like everything has to be like now, and like post. And my quality has just diminished, I think, so much, to the point where I'm like, I kind of want to do a video a week and put out like a way better like content video, but then online, the way that like the algorithm works or whatever is like that won't be pushed to the front or noticed as much. And then I started going, man, did I really put all my effort and heart into how much people care or how many views I get on this thing? And when we first started OPC, that was not the case at all. And it was actually hilarious to go, man, we really don't care about any of this, but look how much is coming. And I kind of missed that, just going like, when did I start caring so much about how many people were viewing it, what people thought of it? When did I stop doing this for fun? I kind of posted that on my story the other day. I was like, man, guys, remember how like this is a fun thing? How like you play card games, how it's supposed to be entertaining and joyful, but we've just sucked the life out of it by like comparing so much to other people. Like, can we stop doing that together? Like there was I don't know if you saw this, there was a video I posted a while ago or it was like maybe a week or two ago on my story, but there was this kid at a skate park and he was dropping in for the first time. If you guys know what that term is, it means like you just drop in on a half pipe.
Going down the ramp.
And there are like 10 guys on each side of him, like holding out their arms in case he falls. And I'm like, oh, if only we had that attitude in the card community instead of like, hey, drop your card. Hey, drop your card. Actually, that move sucks. Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, guys, you promote creativity and better moves when you stop criticizing people and just go, hey, that's really cool. Have you tried this? Or you should try this. And like pushing people in a good way instead of going, man, you suck. You need to get better. One, I think if anybody went to the Cardistry Con or heard the talks online, there was even that talk about what is good cardistry? How do you deem that? Like, how do you judge that? Because there's so many different styles and genres. It's almost like saying, how do you judge what music is better? And it's like, well, you can't, because there's different genres and there's different artists and there's different styles. So instead of being like, oh, well, Beyonce is like so much better than Rihanna, it's like, on what scale? Like, you can't, what if they're fans of Beyonce or they're fans of Rihanna? I don't understand why you're fighting about it. I don't get it. So like when people are like, oh, well, I love anyone over Fontaine. I'm like, I think at my desk, I have both of them. And I don't know why I couldn't like both of them or not like either one of them and why that's not fine. But I don't know. So I'm sorry. I totally forgot the original question.
Oh, no, you're good. I kind of forgot it too, but
no problem. What was I?
Yeah, but I think what we're seeing a lot right now too is people are trying to be like, if you're not making like original mind-bending stuff, then what are you doing?
I know what the question was. What am I looking to do further? I hopefully will do more videos like weekly and more creative with a story. I like the plot line behind it. It kind of sets the cardistry in a cool place and makes it like the feature instead of just going, here's a cardistry video, here's a bunch of cards. It's kind of like you prompt the story towards, oh, here's the cardistry. Oh, here's the cardistry. So, yeah. So what you were saying.
Yeah, I think right now, at least what I see, I've stepped back from cardistry, like I said, for like 4 or 5 years, and just now coming back to it a couple months ago, 3 or 4 months ago. But it's been kind of like a tone shift to where like if you're not making like mind-bending creative stuff, then kind of what's the point of posting? And I don't think that's healthy. I don't think we're going to grow as a community if we just like say, if you're not good, then what's the point? Like, it's just excluding more. We should be more inclusive.
And also, say that again, but hold up. I might need to preach. There are like, no one factors in like a beginner. Like I've been here 7 years, right? But if I see someone get online and just like, whatever, like maybe not even that or something, people are like, that's terrible, that's awful cardistry, why'd you even post that? It's like, this guy might have started yesterday. Relax. Like, would you go yell at a kid on a playground when he like learns to dribble the basketball and you're like, you're a terrible basketball player. You're nothing like Jordan. No, he's a child. He's beginning to start dribbling. Actually, pun intended. So like, I don't know. Just can we relax? Can we be more gracious? Can we be more kind in that way to the people who are beginning? Like I was even noticing the video that I posted the other day. There was a move before where I was like, oh man, I look like I haven't done it in a while. Like people are rusty. And it's like, we are so unforgiving. It's like this like Shark Tank of like, oh, here comes a new video. Let's just eat at it and just kill everybody. Like, whoa.
I don't think the intention is bad though. I think we just want to have like really good high quality stuff, but I think it comes across in not the best way.
Sure. I mean, I think it depends. Like if I put out a post, I know I put out a post yesterday and on my story and I said, hey, I would like feedback. I'm asking for feedback on the video I just posted. And people commented. And I was like, cool. But if you're just like, hey guys, here's a fun video, and they don't ask for feedback, why are you giving them feedback? Which, I mean, I guess you can. It's not like, I mean, I don't ask for feedback all the time with my friends with things, but like, if I like, I don't know, like let's say I'm eating a bowl of cereal and he's like, man, you are just eating your cereal terribly. I'm like, why do you care? Why are you wasting your time and your day commenting on how I eat my cereal when there's so many better things to be commenting on?
Yeah, like if you don't enjoy something, what's the point of interacting with it? Like I'm not a big fan of country music, but that doesn't mean I go to like country concerts or like message people that are making
and
country
boo
songs.
them.
What was that?
And like you don't go to those concerts and boo them just because you don't like country music.
Yeah,
that seems like a big waste of your time.
Exactly. So I mean, if you're not enjoying it, just go to someone else's page and I don't get it.
Yeah, I think it's just so hard with one. I think that online has done something to it. Like if I were in person, I don't think people would make those comments or criticisms or be as harsh as they are, but they feel like they can be so loud online. Like what I think is hilarious is I think this was a misunderstanding too. I don't know what his heart was behind it, so if it's wrong, hopefully I'm not commenting on it in an inappropriate way. But Scott Black is a fairly good cardist. I really like some of his stuff, and it posted on his story. I think when we were coming out with like one of the third decks of peelers or something, it was either CJ Ocampo or him posted on their story an interaction they had back and forth by saying, I'm going to make like the vegetable peeler or something. And I thought that was kind of funny. I was like a little shocked at first. I'm like, are they making fun of us? Or is this like, do they think this is fun? Like, I don't know what it is. And I just remember meeting him at Cardistry Con and going like, hey dude, I thought that like post a little while ago was funny. And he like looked at me like, oh no, did you find out about that? Or like he didn't understand what I was saying. And the amount of people, my goodness, the amount of people who are different online than they are in person, I would hope to think that I'm not that different. People, Nick Stumphauser actually is one person who has said, actually, this was a very encouraging thing, if I can share this. He said this the other day, and it brought me so much joy. He said, Nate, you are so real in that, like, when I met you at Cardistry Con, you were nothing different from what you portray online or to other people. Like, you are the same guy. And I met so many kids at Cardistry Con who, like, I knew their screen names and what they would say online. But when I met them in person, they wouldn't say, like, half a word. And I'm like, guys, like, remember how we talk online all the time? Like, I feel like we're friends. Like, why are you so scared? Or, like, people were, like, timid. This is what was so weird. I do not consider myself famous in any way. But when I went to Cardistry Con, I like signed a couple of autographs, and there were kids who literally came up to me and were like nervous. I'm like, why are you nervous? Like, I am just another weirdo kid like everybody else who's just playing around with cards. Like, I do not know why you are nervous about these things. It just kind of gave me a weird perspective of like how some celebrities are like, oh, I am the like celebrity or whatever. And I'm like, but you're also a person that like has to wipe their butt too. So like, you're not that cool. Like, we're all not that great in the way that, like, I don't know, we can be less high maintenance, if you will, about those type of things.
Yeah, I think it's when you look at cardistry as a whole, it's a very small niche type of thing, and like, I mean, we see the same people like constantly. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that um, we're all just regular people. It's basically what
Yeah.
I say.
I think it's funny to think that because I've been in it for so long, but like 7 years ago, had you been like, hey, yeah, in the cardistry community, you'll be one of the faces that people recognize, I'll be like, what? Because I looked at like Tobias and Oliver and Zach, um, Chase Duncan, Franco. I don't know if he was super into cardistry. I guess he was kind of into cardistry, Magic. Frankie Morales, if anybody remembers him
Yeah.
from a while back. But just some of those guys. Berger obviously has been around for a while. But just going like, I'm gonna be one of the people that's I think was one of the most shocking things at Cardistry Con. Cam and I were like, you know us? They're like, yeah, we know you. I'm like, really? Why? Or even today getting on with you, I was like, I was like, man, I'm starting this interview, and I realized that he may know a lot more about me than I know about him because of online stuff. So that's just it's a weird, interesting thing that goes on in our culture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't expect you to know much about me. But yeah, just you've been doing cardistry for a long time too. I think the people that have been here for a while, you kind of remember more with the repetition of seeing them.
Yeah, the credit of like being around. Like I don't even know if like actually I think that's kind of what comes with like celebrities in sports. Like Shaun White, Tony Hawk, Michael Jordan. Not only I think about this too. Not the celebrities who are like classics, if you will be classics of their day, are like people who were relevant for a while. Like Beyonce, Rihanna, Jay-Z, Drake, all the people, Justin Bieber, all the like big celebrities we know, were not only relevant for an internet video that blew up, but they're relevant for a long time
Mm-hmm.
or a good while.
Yeah, you kind of have to have that long stay appeal to
Pun
be,
intended.
yeah, um, to be considered one of the greats, I guess. Get some water here.
No problem. I got mine here too.
So, going back to kind of how I said, do you miss anything about the old years? Is there anything about kind of how it is now that you really enjoy, that you wish would have been more present in the past?
Ooh, that's a good question. I like that question a lot. Um, Man,
So yeah, take your time.
I'd probably have to say just I don't know if I would like. I think it might be like the quality overall of different things. Um, and I think that one thing I wish was around back then, although it probably was, even though I didn't realize it, was the array of talent. Like there's so many people. That's one thing that we tried to do, but it didn't really work as much as we would have liked it to. With OPC is like some of those like undiscovered gems who like you think can compete with the best of them. Like go find those out and like sponsor them in a way to put them in a video or something. I think Fontaine did it for a while, but then it started the Fontaine, I don't even know what it was, but he started like sponsoring different guys. And
Mm-hmm.
Evan Alberto went from, if anybody knows him, went from Cardist on Zach Mueller's page to how I found out about him to now being like millions of followers on TikTok. It's like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess the overall quality of videos I might have liked back in the day. I don't even know. I think something that I would have liked back in the day is the variedness of cards, like the amount of cards that we have now, different designs and everything. Like if you're to be a collector now, that might suck, but just like the array to choose from when you're starting is so immense
Yeah.
that sometimes I don't even think I had nowhere to start.
Like, yeah, going to that, I mean, just jumping into that rabbit hole, there's so many cards coming out that like it's just a constant stream of like, oh, I want that deck, I want that deck.
Hmm.
And like now you kind of have to pick and choose, whereas before it was like a few big releases.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh my gosh. I think it was. This is just for the world in general right now. Oversaturated. We are oversaturated with so many things. Um, I'm trying to think of what was around. I think back then I would have picked up Fontaine's because I had Fontaine like the blue one, like right after the original edition. I actually backed the Kickstarter for the blue ones. That's how old I am in this
mhm.
community. Um, what else would have been out at that time? I guess like bikes or something I liked. Um, Around that time was when you had to find like old classic like B cards or tally hos. That was a big one back then. What else it would have been like Fontaine's tally hos. I guess I can go back and like look at my old videos.
Yeah. You,
Actually.
Theory 11 was big.
Oh, Theory 11 might have been that too.
Yeah, it was weird. Like after the gap that I talked about, where I came back, like Theory 11's kind of grown to its own, not really cardistry specific as much as it used to be, like cardistry magic.
Yeah, or just cards even. Let
Hmm.
me look at my goodness. This is going to be a rabbit hole for sure. Old YouTube videos of I guess Saturns were one back in those days. Aladdin's, Fontaine's.
Aladdin's, Winds.
Oh, Dan and Dave's, Smoke and Mirrors,
Yeah.
and Verts. Verts. I had used. Oh, and Studs. That was a big one. Oh, and Knox, Fontaine's, Studs,
It was kind of whatever
Verts.
you could get at like a Walgreens or whatever too. Like
Yeah.
you didn't have this online, wasn't as big as it is now. The shop.
Oh no. It was kind of fun to kind of go like I remember for a while I would go through when I found out they discontinued Studs. I went through and bought all the studs I could at different stores that like had them left. Because I thought it was so important at the time, and now I'm like, oh man, I probably you
What do I
live,
do
you
with all these
learn.
sets?
Yeah, my
Yeah.
goodness. I'm trying to think
It's
of
to the
anything
point
else.
now too, if you were a collector, like there's no chance you're gonna get you can't start collecting Fontaines now or like orbits because it's gonna break the bank. So like
Oh, I don't know how you'd start collecting any series at this point. I'm almost positive. This was another weird thing. Peelers V1,
mhm.
ridiculous. I think
It's like 100 to 200 now, I think.
there. I looked up Peelers V1. There's a Peelers V1 by Riffle Shuffle on shuffler.com for $230.
And
That
now I
is
went to go get Snackers V1 recently, which is in my opinion still a pretty recent like deck. And they're like
yeah,
40 to 50 bucks now.
really?
Yeah.
Man, this is so weird.
I
Okay, on
didn't
eBay. Oh my gosh, Snackers V1 are 55.
yeah. So it's bizarre. And
Squeezers
like
V2 is 40.
that some of that might be just them pricing it high to see if they can get it to sell for that as
This is
well.
true. A $45 Peelers V2. My goodness. That is nuts.
Hmm. Well, I mean, like the stock just continues to dwindle after they come out. Um, so yeah, it's
Funny
crazy.
thing.
Like I would love to get a complete set of like orbits or organic playing cards. Those are the two that I kind of enjoy the most out of all the brands. But it's like it's not gonna happen
If
unless
I
I
can flip the
States.
interview on you for one question.
What was that?
If I can flip the interview on you for
Yeah,
one
for sure.
question, because I'm dying to know. What draws you to Orbit and OPC versus anything else?
So what I see in them is the community aspect. They're doing stuff kind of daily and interacting with people. Um, like some of the bigger brands I see, like Fontaine and anyone, they kind of like do mass like drops, I guess, where they release a bunch of either videos or interaction with the community, and then they'll kind of disappear for a while.
Hmm.
And I also think they're not very like welcoming to newcomers, which I think is the most important thing we need to be doing right now is um, making tutorials, helping the newcomers so we can have another generation of cardists and so that it can grow. I think if we kind of do this elite status type of thing that I see some of the other companies doing, it's it's going to keep it small. Which I mean, some people want it to stay small, but I don't. I want to see it grow and become its own something popular like skateboarding or sport or anything like
Well,
that.
that'd be really dope. That's kind
So
of what I'm hoping for too. I think that even off of that, the man, I can't even, because of like TikTok and everything, because everyone's kind of jumped over to TikTok. I've noticed a lot of my like analytics have gone down on my page because people are on TikTok now. I'm like, I wish that I could. It's too much scrolling. It's too much. Like you don't spend enough time on a post for me to even like hook your interest to then go, hey, I teach this somewhere else. If you guys want to learn it, it's all like, well, we'll teach it in house. I don't even have time for like, I don't have time for TikTok, anything really. I'm like, man, whew, we don't have time for anything anymore.
yeah, I think what we're seeing a lot now in the media is kind of like potato chip type of mentality where just real quick, you know, it's going to taste good, but there's no real thing. It's not like benefiting you in the long run. Or
Mhm.
it's just good in the moment. So,
That's, there's a little nugget too. This is what I said when we started creating peelers, playing cards. I really liked, I said this out loud and I was like, oh, I really like that. Um, that when we're not here to make the trendiest deck right now, we're here to make a classic.
mhm.
And I think we did. That was the cool part. Is like, people are like, oh, that is kind of a classic deck. Like what I said, I was like, what are classics right now? We got Tally Hose, Wins, uh, Dan and Dave's. I don't know, something classic looking. And so we decided to go with two bananas and like the teal chartreuse. I don't even know what color that is. It's light blue something with green in it background. And I'm like, that is a classic for some reason. I don't know why. It's just minimal. It's simple. It will be popular at all times. It won't be the trendiest thing right now. Um, and I was like, but it will always be good. That was kind of the thing that I said. It was like, you don't like, I can, well, let me see if I can find a deck in this pile that is like this is trendy.
Mhm.
The goblins, they're trendy. I wouldn't call these a classic. These are a classic because they kind of go with everything. They're not super outstated. They're not super eye-catching, which is why you can use them all the time. Like these, even especially, are trendy. They're trendy back design. I will
Mhm.
not always use these. And I think a lot of, if even if you want to include a tip for your viewers, a huge tip for like starting is do not go for what's trendy. Go for what will last and observe what you like.
Mhm.
That it was a lot of self-reflection of going, what are the decks that I keep around? What are the decks that I like always, and I'll go back to them and pick them up. I don't like them for a little bit. I will keep picking them back up, and why? And that's how we came up with like the finish we use, the stock we use. Um, is I was like, I don't want a deck that people just pick up for a little while and stop playing with. I want to make one that they keep playing with, even if they like, let's say these just came out. People go pick these up. Cool. They're pretty cool. But like eventually I go back to these. I go back to these. I go back to this is actually a pretty good one. I like the alphabet deck a lot for some reason.
Mhm.
But I'm like, why? Why make a classic? It'll last. It'll be great.
Mhm. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with the trendy decks either, but
No.
it's just, you know, you if you're going to start something, you want to have that lasting appeal. Like going back to like the legends and greats, that it's having that lasting appeal is what is going to really push people forward and appreciative of what you do. Would you want to do at the end of the show, we usually do a rapid round of questions, which are completely random in nature. So they might have to do with cardistry, might not. The goal is to try to answer it as quick as possible.
I would love to. That'd be hilarious and fun.
Yeah, so I'm going to open up. I have a spin the wheel app on my phone with a ton of questions. I added some just earlier, so hopefully there'll be some new ones for the people that have been viewing for a while. But we'll just jump into it, I guess.
Let's do it.
All right. So spin. All right. Your favorite TV show right now?
Hunter x Hunter. Watching the anime right now. It's great.
Mm-hmm. I want to jump into that sometime. I know I have a lot of people recommend it.
It's good. I really like it.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs, hands down.
Android or iPhone?
iPhone, because of a friendly user interface. I get like the whole idea of wanting to customize your Android. Like that's cool. I just don't want to do that. So it's like easy access. That's why I like iPhone.
Cool. Kind of talked about this earlier, but do you play video games? And if you do, what is your favorite?
Minecraft is great just because of creativity. Play Call of Duty, play some Warzone. And then I play some Minecraft Dungeons with my brother sometimes. A lot of video games either involve FPS or sandbox. Bloons Tower Defense 6, I guess, counts. Phone game.
If someone was to write an autobiography of your life, what would it be called? That's a.
It would be called Loud. It would just be called. It would be called Loud. Boisterous. No, it would just be called Loud. That's what it would be. Or it would be like Living Life Out Loud or something clever and cute. Or it would just be Loud.
So this is a mainstay. I don't know why this has become a mainstay question, but toilet paper, should it be under or over?
What preposterous, foolish person would ever put their toilet paper under? It is always over. Yeah, I really don't care. I prefer over, but it's not that big of a deal.
Cam was pretty adamant on that question. We haven't had anybody say under yet, so I'm waiting for the first person to say under.
You know, I'm trying to think of now that I say it, I like want to come up with some ideas of why you could make that a positive. Why is under the better one? Like if I had to be in a debate class, what are the upsides to under?
Yeah, play devil's advocate.
Yes, that's a very fun task sometimes.
If an actor portrayed you in a movie, who would it be?
Oh, right now with the hair, I don't know because I've been growing it out all year. But what I usually look like, it could be Grant Gustin, who plays the Flash on the DC. Well, what is that?
CW.
Yes, thank you. Who have I been compared to before? Him. It's mostly Grant Gustin. With the hair, actually, I look like Matthew McConaughey's son. Like a young, when this is all down and wet, and I'm like by a Lincoln. And this is like the blue eyes and the long hair. And all right. Maybe young Matthew McConaughey. Who knows?
If you could have any superpower, what would it be? And then would you use it for good or evil?
Oh, man. That's such a good question. I usually like the idea of flying. Like, I think that would be so much fun to be able to fly. I'm going to go with that because I'll think too long about that question. I'm going to go with flying and definitely for good. I think it would be fun. It could be very romantic at the end of a date. We just fly home. It would also just because I like to entertain. If you've ever taken like the personality type things or whatever, I'm an ESFP, which is literally called the entertainer. And I'm like, I would think that would be a hilarious party trick. Be like, guys, I'll just fly up and get it or whatever. It'd be very entertaining.
You'd be one of the best magicians.
Oh my gosh. And then I'm gonna levitate, and everyone's like checking for strings and everything. I'm like, what's your secret? It's like, I can fly. And they're like, well, no, you can't. No, you can't. What's your actual secret? And I'm like, I can fly.
um, favorite music genre?
Ooh. It's a fight between jazz and hip hop. I would say most of the time hip hop. I really like rap and like more poetry in that, but jazz or like
Um,
R&B.
this one, my sister-in-law added. She said, if you could have coffee with any Disney character, who would it be?
Oh my gosh. So wait, does it have to be a Disney character or could it be Walt Disney?
Um, I,
I'll go Disney character. The
okay.
genie from Aladdin is the first thing that popped into my mind.
Mhm.
That'd be hilarious.
Maybe he'd be in the lamp. You get lucky. Um, if okay, last question here. Uh, we'll go with describe your absolute perfect day.
Oh my gosh. So I've actually thought about this kind of recently because I'm going through a schedule change in terms of like going from here back to college and everything going on with COVID. Um, and my perfect day would be like, it kind of doesn't matter what it is, but if I have a mission, is kind of what I like. Like if I wake up and I'm like, I know what I'm going to do that day, get up at 8 o'clock, have a breakfast, kind of like sort through. And then my perfect day would be like, or some of my best days I've ever lived, I think, were literally just like going to shoot something that
Mhm.
we had planned out that we were really excited about with a good amount of friends on a nice sunny, like our evenings in Toronto were really cool. Cardistry was really dope. It was like having a plan, going there, and just doing it. Like, I don't know, accomplishing something is mostly what it is. Accomplishing a challenge or a feat with friends. Perfect day. Doesn't really matter what the food is, whatever else happens. Accomplishing a feat with friends.
I think that's a great answer. So I think that's good for the random questions. Try to keep it a little short. Is there anything that you would want to promote or any last nugget that you would want to let the people watching know?
Thank you for putting that out there. Um, I would love for everyone watching. One, the promotion thing, just look at my page, More Than Paper YouTube channel. I might come out with stuff. I'm hoping I do. I'm just gonna like put down time this semester now that I have some to like make some stuff and just do it.
Mhm.
Um, but the tip, if I could give people a tip, I've been talking with some younger guys in the community lately, and it's like they'll send me their videos for like my approval or like because I'm well esteemed or whatever. They'll be like, "Is this good?" And then they'll base whether their stuff is good off of whether I say it is. And this is I love this so much. This is a tip that my old camera teacher used to give me, which was like we would always like call him over to our computer and be like, "Is this good?" And he would always just go, "I don't know. Is it?" So it's kind of like you don't need to be you don't need my approval of whether the flourish is good or not. Please don't seek after my approval. Like if you like it, if I like a move or whatever, just put it up. Cool. And then it will be super fun. It'll be so much more fun for you to just say you put it out there and make a video that you like. I think that it's commonly said, and people don't really like experience the weight of it until they've walked through it, which I think I now have, of like doing it on your own and doing it how you like it and just kind of like going, oh yeah, like I like to do this and I don't care if anybody else does. And then somewhere in the middle you start caring. And then you come out of it again and you're like, why? Why did I care? I don't, this is like, it feels like, honestly feels like death almost is the only word I can think of. Like it eats away at you because you're like, well, people don't like the stuff I put out anymore. And I'm like, but what about you? It's your, like different artists and whatever, it's your art that you're making. Like I get it if it like, I don't know, just I would push them to go try it. If you have not tried it already with just life, try it. Try making something new. Try being more creative. Something that I came up with the other day that I might write into a song eventually that I think is super dope. Is this idea? I said this yesterday and it sounded so poetic and it was so cool. I was like, did I just say that? but it was like, I need someone to put me in a box so that I can think outside of it.
Mm-hmm.
It was basically like, I need someone to put me in a box I can think outside of, because we talk about all the time, like, oh man, you just need to think outside the box. And something that a rapper that I really like said before was like, give yourself parameters to create, like limit yourself to, it just has to be a 3-pack of cut, and then start making it. Because sometimes I get here with a deck of cards after I've learned how to do a bunch of things, and I go, I don't even know where to begin to create something, because there's so many options. And I think for us creative types, we're like, I'm overwhelmed with the amount of options. I don't even know what to do anymore. So just go, I need to set myself some rules that I don't have to follow always. And if I get there later, I can just change it. But give yourself some strict parameters so that you now have to think inside of a box, and then you can think outside of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so cool to see how creative you get in that space. And I think that a lot of the most creative people have been very limited to what they
Yeah,
do.
you see that in like just in all like music, movies, like paranormal activity. Like
Mm-hmm.
when you have that limitation, whether it's budget or whatever, you can. That's when something unique's gonna kind of develop.
Because you have
Um,
to.
mhm.
That's the coolest part. It's like, you have to. Now that, well, we can't do this, so we got to come up with something else. I think some of the best shoots that we've ever done for OPC or whatever, this is now the way I've tried to kind of do it, and that doesn't work. You have to start with a plan. But when things don't go our way, when there's something that just goes amok, it goes a wreck, we go, oh, looks like we have to like think outside of the box, because this is the situation we've been presented with. So what can we do with it right now? That's something my mom has always said. This will be my nugget. I'm rambling forever. Little nugget of wisdom. Like, don't stop worrying about the past. Stop worrying about the future. What situation, notice where you are right now, and what can you do about it right now? And if you can do something about it, great. If you can't, don't need to worry about it.
All right. I think that's a good way to end it. I think that's a great nugget. Thank you, Nate, for being on. I really appreciate you coming on.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, for sure. So thank you everybody for watching at home. Hope you have a wonderful day, and hopefully see you guys later.
Bye, guys.
See ya.